Hello and welcome to this demonstration of the application Itsim. Itsim is a strategic planning tool for regular transport. This has been developed by Systra. The interface for Itsim allows you to create multiple scenarios for a city, allowing you to test different options. So here, for example, we have the playground, which I can show you. And you'll see here when it loads, we've got the city of Nancy in France. If we just zoom in a little bit, we can see all the bus routes within the city, coloured differently for each route, as well as the thicker red lines showing a tramway. And within each of those, looking a bit more closely, we can also see the stops and points of interchange. Clicking on one of them will give us the name and information about that stop. And then over to the left, we have the full list of all the routes within the city. For each one of those, we can have a set of parameters, which we can see here. The route's name, both short and long, how it's been coloured, the type of mode. There are multiple different modes in Itsim. This gives you the option to plan of a variety of different types of transport, as well as a buffer zone, which tells you how far passengers would be willing to walk to access a stop of that mode of transport, which I can then see when I've clicked on this stop that the catchment population for this particular stop is 791 people, as well as a number of jobs also within that catchment area. Within each route, Itsim allows us to show multiple variations, so in two different directions, as well as the option to show a shorter route where this bus stops earlier, for example. Itsim allows us to see the catchment areas of each route visually, where we can see that different modes of transport will have different catchment areas. So the buses here having smaller catchment areas than our larger tramway. We can also overlay on that either the population density or the job density for the city. By combining the two things, both population density and the catchment areas, this allows us to identify areas of the city that are particularly well or less well served. For example, here we have an area of relatively high population density, but it is falling outside the catchment area of any currently existing public transport. Having identified that, this gives us the opportunity to modify the network to potentially improve the public transport access for the people living in this area. So I can select a line that will better serve this area, for example this one, this bus route that comes down here. Select the variant that I want to extend, and then I can edit the route. So here I'm going to add a further stop in the area that was previously outside of any catchment area, with Itsim automatically following the road network, or if I was considering building a new piece of infrastructure, I could have it do that directly as well. Having completed that, we should see that area that was previously not well served in the city is now better covered by the extended bus route that I've created. And Itsim will then have automatically updated the statistics about the catchment areas, and we'll see that a greater proportion of the city's population is falling with the catchment area of the public transport system. For each bus route, Itsim will also calculate the vehicle revenue kilometres, vehicle revenue hours, and a cost. This is done both for the whole network and for each individual line. Further functionality of Itsim is that it allows us to see the route between any two origin destination stops within the city. So if I turn off our population areas, So I can select, using the origin destination mode, I can select 2 stops. And Itsim will calculate the route between the two. We can see the headway, the travel time, and the number of interchanges. A further functionality of Itsim is that we can export all the information we have here in GTFX format for further use in planning transport for the city.